Replace hydraulic pump and Lovejoy on a Turfware TR460. Review operator's manual prior to performing repairs. This is an exploded view of the hydraulic pump, Lovejoy, and spyder. The hydraulic pump is part number 3605006. Disconnect the battery before starting any electrical repair. Support the oil fitting coming from the side of the tank so that you do not break the fitting off of the tank. Loosen the fitting on this hydraulic hose. Before the line starts leaking, grab an oil pan to catch the oil as it flows out as you finish disconnecting this line with your hand. The oil will take a few minutes to drain from the tank. It will continue to drip out while you begin other steps in this repair. Have several rags handy besides the oil pan to catch any spillage. Disconnect the impeller hydraulic supply and return hoses. Important: mark the 1/4-inch hydraulic hose that was connected to the top fitting on the pump with a zip tie. It is critical that these hoses be reconnected correctly. Then zip tie that line up out of the way. Disconnect the hose running to the filter. Next, disconnect both hoses under the pump. Keep the left hose on the left side and the right to the right so you know where they go on the new pump. Remove the 4 bolts on the Lovejoy cover and remove the cover. Remove the cotter and clevis pins on the drive cable, disconnecting it from the pump. Remove the inside nuts on the 2 bolts holding the pump on the pump mount. It helps to have a ratchet wrench for this step. Remove the 2 bolts holding the pump up. You will need to support the pump with one hand when you take the second bolt out. Now you can remove the old pump. Lovejoy assembly. The motor side of the Lovejoy inside diameter is 1 inch, and the pump side Lovejoy ID is 0.875. Remove the set screw out of the pump side of the Lovejoy. Apply blue thread locker to the set screw threads. Slide the pump side Lovejoy onto the pump shaft. The shaft should extend 3/16 of an inch inside of the Lovejoy when the set screw is completely tightened. Slide the motor side Lovejoy onto the motor shaft. Use blue thread locker on the set screw and tighten over the key, making sure the key is flush with the inside of the Lovejoy. The motor shaft should extend 3/16 of an inch from the inside of the Lovejoy. The Lovejoy spyder rides between the 2 sides of the Lovejoy, providing cushioning for rotational motion. When the pump is remounted and the Lovejoy is mated, there must be a gap of 1/16 of an inch between the 2 sides of the Lovejoy to allow for expansion when it heats up in use. This is a good point to do a thorough cleaning of the work area. Clean fittings, threads, and hose ends to ensure no debris contaminates the hydraulic system. When you place the pump back in position and mate the Lovejoy, you may need to rock the pump so that the Lovejoy can line up properly. Drop the pump back in the hole in the pump mount and wiggle it into place so the fingers of the Lovejoy mate up with the spyder. Begin hand threading the top and bottom pump mount bolts back in place. Run the top and bottom pump mount bolts down with a ratchet and driver. Tighten with a wrench. Then when putting the nylon lock nuts back on, make sure to hold the bolt with a wrench so that it does not loosen. Repeat this on the bottom bolt and lock nut. When the pump is remounted and the Lovejoy is mated, there must be a gap of 1/16 of an inch between the two sides of the Lovejoy to allow for expansion when it heats up in use. At this point, reconnect the filter supply line. When you get to the point of tightening, make sure to hold the filter housing securely to protect the fitting into the tank. Move this hose out of the way to reconnect the drive cable. Install the clevis pin connecting the drive cable to the pump. You may need to move the handlebar to aid in alignment. Then reinstall the cotter pin. Now reconnect the hydraulic feed hose. When tightening, make sure to use a second wrench to protect the fitting into the oil tank. Move on to reconnecting the bottom hoses, starting with the one farthest away from you. Use a wrench to help hold the hose up and pry it forward to thread more easily. You are now free to finish tightening it up. Apply blue thread locker to the other fitting on the bottom. Connect the remaining hose on the bottom of the pump. After those hoses are connected, clean the area of any oil that has leaked out. Apply blue thread locker on the last two fittings on the pump. Remember the hose with the zip tie goes on the top fitting. Use the 9/16 wrench to tighten. Before you firmly tighten this hose, make sure it is relaxed and not twisted or bound up. Use a second wrench to hold the hose at the top while firmly tightening this swivel fitting. Repeat these steps with the second fitting, making sure not to twist the hose. Give the inspection cover a good cleaning while it is off and bolt it back on. Do not over-tighten or you will crack the plastic cover. Measure out 2 liters or 2.2 quarts and refill the oil tank. Only use 5W30 synthetic motor oil. Remember to reconnect the battery. To prime the hydraulic system, start your TR460. Move the dry bar back and forth 5 times until the spreader starts to move. Check all hoses and connections for leaks and make sure the impeller is functioning properly. When you shut the machine off, if the oil level is on the full line, you're done. If more oil is needed, fill to this line.